When I meet him, I've heard his name rings bells. Nobody for me to worry about. I'm not somebody that gets on the radar of dudes like that. He more or less, if he needed something, he would go ask somebody. And if you acted funny about it, he would take it. So if you come to yourself, it's like, hey, man, I'm doing bad. Let me get 2 soups. Not let me hold, meaning he's going to pay it back. Let me get 2 soups, meaning can I have 2 soups? You tell him no, he's the type of dude that'll be like, what? Come in there and just gather all your stuff up. You little greedy son of a bitch. Turn around and leave out. K had authority issues. He'd done so much time in prison. You would think for most of the old heads and the dudes that have been there a long time and in and out, they know the last thing you want to do is argue with the guards. They know you don't want to draw heat on yourself. You know, keep the guards out of here. The dorm runs good. The pod runs good. The building runs good. We don't want the guards in here. K's sitting on his bunk one day and they come by to do count. And the guard tells him, stand up for count. What I got to stand up for? You can see I'm in here. Look, man, that's the policy. You got to stand up, turn the light on. Both of the inmates in the cell got to have their feet on the floor, and you need to be standing up. I'm not standing up. Look, you're going to stand up for count. I said I'm not standing up. You see I'm here. You think the other half of me's out there walking free in the world? I'm right here, man. What the fuck I got to stand up for? Okay, you right. Don't sleep far from me. I hear the whole thing. I said, man, they're going to write this dude a charge, right? Somebody's going to write him up. They don't give him no charge. No charge ever shows up. If a guard writes him up, now he's ain't got on this man's bad side. K has done hurt dudes in the past in prison. K has robbed dope boys that were gang members in the past in the prison. Took the whole pack from them and just been like, what? What are y'all going to do? Just like Tweet would do. What are you going to do? Y'all ain't going to do nothing. You send 10 of y'all over here, I'm going to slam 10 of y'all on y'all's neck. I'll kill you little son of a bitches, right? K's a big violent man. The place I was at the time, we couldn't keep guards up there. The guards, you would see a guard for a couple months, and then that guard would quit. The guard would get fired. The guard would get caught doing something they shouldn't be doing. They wouldn't be able to take the stress. They would be fighting. The co-workers, the guards would be going at each other because you got some guards that got higher positions that want these ones to do all the work and are lazy, and they would clash all the time. I told you, K's not standing for count, man. I've seen K get in the police's face before, in the guards' faces before, and be like, do something. And they literally, you can tell, they're scared to death. This is an everyday average citizen standing there with a CO's uniform who's been through basic training, who ain't never been punched in the face, much less punched in the face by King Kong. K still refusing to stand for count. With these guards switching off, these guards that work these average shifts, they know K ain't going to stand. He's going to sit there. And ain't nothing we can do to get him to stand. If we put him in the hole, bring him out, wherever he goes to, he's going to be their problem. And then if we run across him, he's going to be angry that we put him in a hole. So just leave him alone, man. Don't make him stand up for count, right? We get a new sergeant. And when I mean, he's like a drill instructor. Dude is a big dude. He's probably one of the biggest sergeants I had ever seen up there. This man came on as a correctional officer and within a matter of months was sergeant. Like, he went straight up the ladder, and I think a lot of it had to do with his military background. He was very militant. The way he dressed, his clothes stayed creased and ironed. The haircut he had when he took that 10-gallon hat off, you would see his haircut, high and tight, military cut. One of the biggest COs that ever crossed that compound. And when I seen him, this dude had a chip on his shoulder. He wasn't for no small talk. He wasn't for helping you out. If you ran out of toilet paper, hey, Sarge, can I get a roll of toilet paper? What do I look like? The store? Not my job to give you toilet paper. You was given toilet paper again in the week. Figure it out, wipe your ass with a sock. And you better not flush it down my toilet. If it gets clogged up my toilet, I'll write you a charge. He would say shit like that to people. We're short an officer one day, and the sergeant comes around with the officer. Sergeants usually don't do count. The regular officers do. Sergeant's walking around with the officer, and they get to K's cell. And the one officer looks in, sees K sitting on the bunk. The dude on the top bunk keeps moving. The sergeant looks in, sees K sitting on the bunk. Hey, you need to stand up. I ain't standing up. Inmate looks at the roster, such and such. You need to stand up for count. I'm not standing up. Oh, you gonna make me get this door popped. I hear K jump up off the bunk, run to the door. And what the fuck you gonna do when you pop the door, huh? What you gonna do when you come through here? You ain't gonna do shit. Sergeant says, okay, I got something for you. Don't worry about it. We'll be back. Now, after they do count, they gotta wait for count to clear. Waiting on count to clear consists of they've walked around with these piece of paper with all the inmates that are in the cells, how many inmates it is. The reason there's 2 officers doing it so that if one officer's numbers is wrong, the second officer catches it. Once they account for everybody that's there, all right, 3,700 inmates, 3,700 present. Nobody has escaped. They're all there. You can let them all back out their cells, right? You hear them come over the intercom. Count is cleared at 0 such and such 100 hours. Count is now cleared at 0 such and such 100 hours. I know these doors ain't about to pop. With the comment the sergeant made, they're getting ready to come back and they're going to try to take Big K's ass to the hole. Sure enough, about 15, 20 minutes passes by. Other dudes, hey, pop the doors. They yelling to control booth, pop the doors, man. Let us out these cells. It's hot. Count cleared. Let us out the cells. Officer in the booth don't say nothing. She's not going to give you no explanation. She's not going to say, hey, sergeant said to keep you on lock. We got a situation. They just sit in there and look around like they're dumb. Just not going to say nothing. Going to let the sergeant do what he does. I'm waiting on this goon squad, this task force, all the men in black with shields to come through the door. Sergeant comes back with another officer, another bigger officer. They come up to K's cell and tell K, turn around and cuff up. K tells him, not cuffing up. You disobeyed the direct order. You go into the hole, pack your shit, turn around and cuff up. He tells him, I'm not going to the hole and I'm not cuffing up. Not happening. Come in here and put me in cuffs. Open the door and put cuffs on me. These are 2 big men. These are men that when I stand in front of, I got to look up like this. Like the sergeant was just as big as K was, man. He wasn't bigger than K, but he was probably one of the few people on the compound that was as big as K. He just wasn't as crazy as K. He's standing there arguing. Sergeant calls for a couple more officers. A few minutes later, I'm still waiting on the men in black to come in. And I see the lieutenant come in the pod. Lieutenant's down in another building. He hears the inmate's name come across the radio, who they're having issues with. Comes in, pulls the sergeant off to the side. I don't know what he said to him. He talked to him in kind of privacy. Lieutenant walked over to where there's still a guard standing by K's cell and tells the guard, come on, let's go. And they walk out. I'm guessing the lieutenant told the sergeant, look, you don't know who that is. That's a violent man. Leave him be. At the most he's doing is not standing up during count. Let him be.